Hey guys, it's your BibaGirrrl again. I doing my video early just so we could have a little more light in the room. I'm doing it once again from my webcam on my computer. I just wanted to just not even just bypass trying to deal with the phone and do it. Does it have enough memory? Does it not? Whatever. Some big news. If I sound funny, it's because this week I got an Invisilign in. And even though some people say they like my teeth, but I've been very self-conscious about my teeth my whole life. I should have had braces, years, decades ago. But I don't know if you can see how my lower teeth are very crooked, and my upper teeth right now, they don't look quite so bad because I've got the plastic on it. But this tooth always faces this way, and these teeth are always too long, and other ones are, and my teeth in the back, even after I had wisdom teeth, that were like overlap, like one's like this and other one's like that, the other one's like this, and so it makes it very hard to floss. And if I go to the dentist and have my teeth cleaned, it's very painful, and I can't get them, especially the back of the bottom teeth. It's very uncomfortable to floss, and it's always a big issue when I go to the dentist. So I decided to weigh my options and decided to do an Invisilign. So this is my second day. My second day since getting it. The first day when I got it, I was almost kind of like elated because I really liked how my teeth look, being so smooth and shiny. And I'm like, well, this is improvement already. But then yesterday, which was like my first full day on my own, you have to keep it in 22 hours. You only take it out when you eat, or I can only drink water when I have it in. Anything else I want to drink, I have to take it out and clean it and clean my teeth before I put it back in. So I hope I end up losing some weight with it, because you can't snack. It cuts down any snack or any snacking. You have to go through the whole process again, unless you want to put this dirty thing in your mouth, or your teeth aren't clean, or whatever, and it could create all kinds of problems. So it really limits to what you can drink or eat throughout the course of a day. And today I'm doing better. Yesterday I had some really intense headaches getting used to it, but today I'm doing better. So that's why it might sound a little funny, and everything's challenging with it in. But I know they told me it'll be about a year. Thinking it might be a little longer. I don't know, but I'm hoping. So you wear one for the first week, and then so that was Wednesday, and then I wear this set for till next Wednesday, and I have a second set, and then I wear that second set, and of course when you put the new set in after you've gotten used to the old set, the new set will kind of hurt for a little bit, and then you get used to it. And then but then the week after that, I go back to the dentist, and they give me the third set, and then they do something else that I guess it makes them attach better. So I'm wondering if once it's attached better, I'll be able to speak better. I don't know, but we'll see. But those who know me really well knows that it's going to take a lot more than that to keep me quiet. So a lot of things have happened this week. This has been a pretty interesting week. A pretty crazy week. It was just kind of funny that I think it was National Women's Day, and all these people were posting like things about Susan B. Anthony and women who like got beaten up to be able to win the right to vote and all this stuff. And then that's the day Kim Kardashian posted a new picture of herself, and I knew right away that it was a picture from last year when her hair was blonde and she was smaller, because now we know that she's still like half, maybe lost half of her weight from when she was pregnant. And so I knew right away that it was not a new picture. Even though it was a nude picture, I knew it was not a new picture because of the way she looked last year. So, and if she just posted, I thought it was pretty funny. It said, when you have nothing to wear, and of course, there were black bars on it, and you could see everything. But my thing is I'm not that freaked out about nudity in the first place. People have been posting nude photos for like years, And not just, and then people are like freaking out, like, she's a mother, she needs to stop doing that. I'm like, well, Pamela Anderson has been posting with 2 kids that are now like in their teens, and she's been like getting paid to post nude. Now, it all depends on like where your point of reference is and where your how you view the world. But my thing is that the world is full of different kinds of people. There are some men, as well as women, who don't mind taking their clothes off for money. And there's some men and women who don't. They'd rather earn their money doing something else. There are many people who choose to sell their sexuality as part of their show business image. Others, it's not. We don't see Cate Blanchett taking off her clothes and posting nude selfies, although if all of a sudden she started doing it now just to be, risque or part of feminine, whatever. It's not really my thing to judge if someone is naked or not naked or whatever. I don't have that same thing that says this way is wrong and this, every girl has to grow up to be a scientist, because I didn't grow up to be a scientist. If I think it's good to have goals to say, well, I want my sons and daughters to grow up to be this or that. But we all have our own paths that we want to walk once we get to a certain age. And we all have to have our own journey and our own truth. Whether that means deciding to be a different religion than our parents, whether that means because we feel in our heart that's something that we want to be or do, or if we want to work at Hooters part-time in the summer as opposed to working at a science lab, or if someone ends up making their living taking off their clothes. Maybe they might be taking off their clothes working their way through medical school, or maybe they're taking off their clothes and getting $1 million. The reality is that this world values beauty over doing good things for people. In my perfect world, I think a fireman and a teacher should be getting paid the same as much as someone who takes their clothes off who poses for Playboy. But I do think that, and of course now Playboy isn't going to have any nudes anymore, but I'm just saying, if someone gets paid $1 million to post a nude, I think a fireman should be getting paid the same amount, or a teacher, someone who's molding lives or helping the world, or nurses, doctors, people helping to cure cancer, whatever. I think there is a huge value being placed on one thing. If your body is a certain way, if your appearance is a certain way, whatever, as opposed to what work you're doing, but in helping others. But the reality is that that's how it is. Kim is choosing to have, at first I think she was embarrassed by what happened with the sex tape, because we still don't know who released it, whether it was her ex-boyfriend, whether it was somebody who was close to him. They say that her mom released it, but I doubt that. I really doubt that. I think that they were looking for a way so that she could become as famous as Paris, because she was working for Paris. But I don't think, in my mind, that I think that originally came out as a surprise. But all these people are like, oh, she's only been famous for this. But she has been famous for 10 years. 10 years. There have been makeup lines, eyelash lines, hair care lines, fashion lines at QVC, Sears, stores in the UK. The reality show's been on for 10 years. All of the Kardashians, they've been famous for 10 years. Granted, they're not dancing, they're not singing. They did do Dancing with the Stars, but they're not famous for singing, dancing, those kinds of things. Reality TV is something that's a very different aspect of show business, that many people, for whatever reason, don't respect. But it is a reality of how people get in the door in terms of being famous, and it is a way that, I mean, look at all the housewives that now have lines of Chardonnay and lingerie, or they have songs on iTunes. And people are like, oh, well, those women don't have talent, da 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 da. But so what? So if you've been on a TV show for 9 or 10 years, Vicki Gunvalson on Real Housewives of Orange County, you're letting a camera follow you around. You're doing, you're a public figure. So by some people's standards, that might not be referred to as a talent as somebody who goes to acting school, but it still is in the public eye. They're going to appearances. They're smiling when they're having a bad day. They're having to go on talk shows. They're having to sell whatever products they're trying to sell. And the thing is that family, the Kardashian family, is a success story of social media, branding, and reality TV, as well as multiple layers of products and image, and selling an image. So that is their talent. And now they've also taken over apps and games on it's a gaming app. So they have their own one app that's promoting each sister, but then each family member, and then they also have an app for the game that the sisters are. For first it was just Kim, but now the sisters are in it too. So they have conquered that world too. So somebody might say, oh, they're famous for one thing. No, there are multiple layers of fame. Now, we should all be so lucky that we're making that type of money and that we're that financially secure. But how they go about it might not be your way of getting about that money. But not everybody is, when you're growing up, is interested in the same kind of things. So if you're interested in fashion and to be relevant, to stay relevant, to keep people talking, part of staying relevant is doing things that are a little shocking. And so posing naked or somewhat seductively or whatever, that's their family. They've kind of like cornered the market. That's what they do. So anyway, that's how I feel in the situation. I think that, granted, Bette Midler was just making a joke. But the problem is with Bette Midler is that she has not done, with the exception of her fan base, she has not done a lot to keep herself relevant in terms of show business. I haven't seen her on an award show. I haven't seen her singing. I haven't seen her in a movie in a good few years. I do know she had a Vegas show a few years back, which I know she made some money, but then she sort of disappeared again. And the thing is, Bette Midler, back in her day, late 60s, 70s, she she still has kind of raunchy sense of humor, but she had a very raunchy act. She was famous for singing in gay bars, as well as what's referred to as the bass. And she would do stuff like flash her top or do all kinds of stuff, say all kinds of dirty jokes and carry on. And if social media had been around back then, we would have seen quite a lot of Bette Midler, especially when she was in her young days, heydays, where she was doing stuff that was shocking and wild and crazy. And I think somehow she's sort of gotten away from, either she doesn't remember those days or she's put it behind her, but she doesn't really remember that she had her own shtick that she did. Saying that word shtick with this thing in my mouth is really crazy. But she had her own shtick that she did to get people talking about her too. So, and the same thing with a few other stars who were joining on the bandwagon of criticizing the Kims. But that's the world. Even in the 50s, you had your Marilyn Monroe, you had Grace Kelly. Some women are more a Grace Kelly, want to be more of a Grace Kelly, and some women are more of a Marilyn Monroe, who enjoy showing off their body, wearing curvy dresses. Some people will want to wear something that flares, isn't real tight, and looks very pretty, and whatever. It takes all kinds. When there's some women might have a perfect body, but they might never ever wear a bikini because they're like, oh, I'm too modest, I don't want to show off. And there are other people like me. I'm to the point now, at my age, I don't care. I wear a bikini, I wear whatever bathing suit I think looks cute, whether I have cellulite, whether I don't have cellulite. At this point, I'm past worrying what people think. I just wear what I wear, and of course, the time and place. But some things I'm not going to wear if I'm going to be going to a church picnic, as I'm going to wear like if I'm going to go out to a club. But there's a time and place for everything. But we all have different lines that we draw within ourselves. So I think with women, I think there's often we put people in these certain boxes that say, oh, well, this kind of woman is the good kind of woman that behaves this way, and this is the kind of woman that this isn't good because she behaves that way. And I think that there's too much there are many people who judge. There's too much judgment. I saw something this morning that I felt was really, really interesting about double standards. And it was, let me find it. I put it in my notes because I saw it on somebody else's Instagram page. And here it is. It basically says, skinny equals anorexic. Thick equals obese. Virgin equals too good. Non-virgin equals slut. Friendly equals fake, non-friendly equals rude, assertive equals bitchy. And funny how those are the labels that often get put on certain women. Like if you're too skinny, people go, oh my god, she's anorexic. Or if you're thick, someone might say you're obese. If you're a virgin, someone might say, oh, you're goody two-shoes. Or if you're not a virgin, they'll call you a slut. If you're not friendly, people are like, why is she being so rude? She's not being friendly. And then someone else, if you're being friendly, they're saying, oh, she's so fake because she's so friendly. And if you're being assertive, they refer to you as bitchy. Now, interesting, all of those adjectives that are like the negative when someone is being a certain way, none of those adjectives ever get applied to men, or if rarely. Rarely do we see a very thin man and go, oh my god, he needs a cheeseburger, he's anorexic. No, you might just be like, oh, he's thin, whatever. And if you see a medium-sized, medium to thick man, do people tell him to lose weight? Not unless he's going to be the next Spider-Man. But usually he's able to find a suit, he's able to walk into a store, not made to feel bad about his body. And, that kind of situation. They don't get the same level of criticism that women get. And then the same thing if men are sleeping around versus men not sleeping around, they don't get the labels. And they don't, definitely, if a man is assertive, they're thinking he's taking charge. How great, that's wonderful. Whereas women will get, oh, she's bitchy, she's power hungry, she's this, she's that. So they're rarely ever used. Those kind of negative things aren't used for men, and that's as long as we are trying to put a kind of label of, oh, she's a good mother because she doesn't pose nude, or this is a bad mother because she poses nude, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, if you're open, hey, if you have a career, there are burlesque dancers who've been dancing for 50 years. Some of them are grandmothers. Some of them would be like, hey, showing their daughters, yeah, hey, this is what I did for money. This is how I supported you. This is how I put clothes on your back. So there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of things, and it's just their choice. And if that's what they're into, and they can make money, who am I to judge? There are people who judge me they consider me like a circus performer, and not to say that's a slight on circus performer, but there's some people who are, if they're in a different kind of high intellectual community, they judge people who do hair, they judge people who do makeup. They don't think we're as educated. They don't think we're this, we're that. Or they think we're educated within those specific parameters, but they don't think of that they're surprised if we read books. They're surprised if we say we went to an art museum. They're surprised if we say we do volunteer work. They're surprised if we say that we're going to a political meeting or whatever it is. There are a lot of people who see us as those people over there. Well, and there are a lot and those people are very judgmental about those who use their bodies or their sexuality to earn money too. And like I said before, not everybody is geared to studying the same things in school, Not everybody's interested in. The world is not. It would be a very boring place if we all thought and felt the same things. So I think it's an interesting dialogue that all of a sudden you had some women who were saying, from a feminist point of view, that you have the freedom to be able to do with what your body and celebrate your body, and then other people were saying that it's a narcissistic thing, not a feminist thing to pose nude, but at least it got a certain dialogue going. And at the same time, one thing I saw was that a lot of celebrities that were getting naked and saying, I'm doing this for Kim, you were not seeing plus size bodies. You were only seeing, I think Sharon Osbourne got naked saying, oh, I'll never be this thin again, so I want to get naked to support Kim. And a few other, Emily Ratajkowski and a few other people, but these were all very thin people. So interesting enough, because the Kardashians have actually, even if they got those curves from plastic surgery or whatever, they get hailed for promoting a curvier, a more medium body shape, and then all these other people were saying, well, I'm standing with Kim, but I didn't see anybody medium size or plus size saying, okay, here we go, you know. So anyway, so that's how I think about that subject. Let me just get some water here. Last week I was talking about how I was getting a free sample from Sephora that was the Shiseido serum, concentrate serum, and so this is the size that was free. Remember I was saying, I said, watch it when it shows up, it's probably this big, but and actually it's not too bad. It's this size, so let's see, here it is in proportion to my face. So this might actually last me about maybe 4 or 5 months. So this was a free sample, so it's a pretty good free sample. And I just want to follow up on that. And then one thing that I talked about, I don't know if I talked about this last week. I was saying, I did say that hard candy, that they had hard candy makeup at Walmart, and I did buy the concealer. Now, even though I look very pale in this video, because I've got natural light coming this way, I've got yellow light here, whatever, but I look extremely pale. I have bronzer on. You wouldn't know it, but I have bronzer on, I have blush on, but interesting enough, this concealer is, it's way even lighter. If you can even see how light it is on my finger. This concealer is way even lighter than my own face. And you can buy something that says fair, or you can buy a concealer that says light, or even a concealer that says medium. And depending on the makeup line, I bought fairs end up being the same color as my finger or 3 shades darker. And then I bought makeup that says fair or light, ends up being this light. So when it's blended, it's not quite as, you can still see how light that is in general. But when I have it on, one thing I've done is I've used it as like a highlighter here, and just like here, and a few places, as well as like in the hollows here. But sometimes I use other concealers almost like as a foundation, because I like the coverage. But that particular, the Glamouflage Hard Candy in Fair, next time if I know that if I were to buy this, because I like the consistency of it, but if I buy this again, I would go 1 shade, if not 2 shades darker to be able to use how I usually use a concealer. But it's good as a highlighter. If you want to kind of like a highlighter that to just kind of help for contouring, a non-frosted one, because there's some people who they like the highlighter to be like frosted above. And it's so funny that look has come back, because I remember that look was big in the disco era, and I never thought I'd see that look again. I was just watching a video, it was actually an hour-long documentary about Kate Bush, singer Kate Bush, and they were showing her old videos. They were like from the late 70s, early 80s, and she had the contour, she had the blush, and then the frosted highlighter. So, but anyway, if you're looking to do a highlighter that does not have a frost, that you could use this for that. So another thing is that it came with its own tiny little concealer pencil. And this kind of pencil is really good to do, like after you draw your eyebrows on, to do a little bit of that line. Like if you ever see on Instagram or different things, at some point I'll do a makeup video and show the steps, but it actually helps bring out the line that you fill in your eyebrows with if you do a line of the light underneath. So I actually have that here, and that's what I've done with this. Or as well as you could also use this for places that are kind of hard to get to. When you even if you have a makeup sponge or whatever, you can kind of still. Or you can also use it as a white to put inside your eyes. So inside the rim. So sometimes I do a dark inside the rim. Sometimes I do the light, depending on what kind of look I'm going for. So I've got one thing that I want to talk about is. I got, it's kind of funny that matte lipstick has come back, and the matte look is coming back, and I got the Avon, I got a few of the Avon shades, because I have, like I said, I have a wedding coming up, and I've got everything from the very nude to, let's see if I can do this, to the hot pinks, and which one I have. Where is it? I've got the middle one on here. This one. And this is the, can't really see because I need to have my reading glasses on. This is made in Mexico. But anyway, I'll have to do a more of an intense video. But anyway, of the 5, I will have to do more of a video that really goes in depth, and I'll show it because I went with it with the from the Avon from the web page, and the one that people are asking me which one I have on, and it's this one, and it's like a rose, so I really like that a lot. That's what I have on. I really have to be careful with this Invisilign because if I glop on a lot of lip gloss, it really smears the lipstick, and it really gives me, because my teeth, it's more of a protrusion. So just when I got my whole system down so my lipstick does not smear onto my teeth, then I get this thing, and then that smears. So anyway, I hope you all have a good weekend. I'm going to be, have my video from last week that I'm going to post onto my YouTube channel. I'm going to eventually, I'm going to do it where if I post to Facebook, I'm going to also post it to the YouTube channel. But the YouTube channel is a little bit behind. I'm trying to get better about posting on YouTube. I've gotten kind of relaxed about what I'm doing more from the Facebook and Tumblr and the newer social media than I am with my YouTube. But I'm going to start doing more with doing things on YouTube as well. I just got a time where they kept changing certain things, and I got really frustrated with how they were changing stuff, but I'm trying to get better about that because I know that's a whole other way to communicate and to share ideas. Kind of having an off. I did highlights last week that you saw in last week's video. I'm just sort of having kind of chill out day and just doing my hair in like a messy braid. It's another thing that's hard for me to get used to again because I used to be very into messy hair, and then I got into having everything be in place, and now things are getting messy again. And just when I thought that I got one on my system down pat to do one thing, then something else comes back in style. So, but that's how style is, it's supposed to kind of shake up a little bit and keep up with stuff, and kind of keep things fresh. And so that's how I sort of have seen things, is as long as I keep up with things and try new things and experience new things, that's how I don't ever want to, that's how I keep in touch. I don't ever want to be that person to lose touch with things. I feel that once you get to a point where you don't know who people are, like, I have a lot of friends, so like, I don't watch award shows anymore because I don't know who anybody is. Well, I'm like, why don't you know who anybody is? Or why don't you know who people are in the music scene? Or when you turn on the radio, you turn on your Pandora, or all of a sudden people just stop listening to music altogether. And I just don't get that. I'm like, how can you not have music in your life? How can you not want to know what's happening? And but I realize that that's just something about me that I've always liked, knowing what's keeping up and knowing who people are, and keeping up with things, trends and music, and it's kind of fun to see how things change, how the pendulum swings back and forth. A lot of 90s floral dresses are back. I never thought I'd see that again. Lace-up boots are back in again. And funny, some things have never left. I can remember 2003. I bought my first pair of Gladiator sandals in 2003. 2003. This is now 2016. And I pick up a spring magazine and, oh, Gladiator sandals in, still big, still big. They have been in for every spring since 2003. There is nothing new to me about a pair of Gladiator sandals. But, hey, people wearing them. It still looks good. Rihanna's still wearing them. Kardashians are wearing them. But it's just interesting to me that some people are like, oh, wow, that's a big deal. I'm like, no, it hasn't. They've been around forever. That's not new. I had a friend message me some pictures of a look where a person had dark hair and you lifted it up, they had bright streaks underneath, so that when they shook their head, you could see streaks. That has been in style in the hair world for over 25 years. This friend of mine was sending this to me like this was big news. I'm like, have you seen this? Isn't this cool? I'm like, I can remember 15 years ago working in a salon and our manicurist wanted that style, and so she had it so she pulled her hair back, but you could see almost like a rainbow underneath. But when her hair was down, you couldn't tell. I'm like, 15 years ago we did that. But if you're not in the hair and beauty and fashion world, and you're not in those things, and you're not reading magazines all the time, and you're not around, not keeping up with stuff, sometimes I'm like, well, where have you been? But I realize that this person's job is not to follow trends. This person's job is something completely unrelated. She thought it was cool, and I was like, well, that's good for you that you thought this was cool, But I'm thinking, I remember you coming into that salon, and I remember someone sitting there with a hair like that 15 years ago, and you might have even commented on it, but maybe you don't remember that conversation. I don't know, but it's just funny to me how some people can be kind of unaware of that kind of stuff, and not really see those kinds of things, or maybe they don't hear that song, or they don't make a certain connection, or they don't realize, and then they'll be like, who is this person with this weird hair on my TV, or who's this person, or who's this, or this person is dating so-and-so's daughter. I'm like, maybe they've been in together 6 years, but I have to I realize that not everybody's about that stuff, and it's a different world, the world of people who do follow these things. I follow these things the way some people follow sports. I follow these things the way some people follow politics. But this is like my sports. The Oscars are like, or the award shows are like the playoffs. And then the Oscars are like the Super Bowl. So, one thing that people are saying that not as many people watch the Oscars anymore. Well, one thing is that because of social media and YouTube or various news sites or whatever, we have a 24/7 media. If you miss the Oscars and you want to see somebody's speech, all you have to do is Google it and you can see that person doing their acceptance speech. Or it might show up in your feed, or it might show up in your friend's feed, and your friend posted on Facebook or whatever. So you don't have to tune in. People are like, this is the lowest ratings Oscars ever had in 8 years, and I'm like, well, people don't need to sit up till midnight want to see Leo get his award, when they're like, oh, you can go to bed at 9 o'clock and be like, gee, did he get his award? Gee, who won? Who did this? So that's a thing that has changed. It wasn't like how it was 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, when if you missed it, you missed it. Everybody was talking about it and be like, oh no, I missed it. Just like any TV show, anything, you can find it and you can see it. You can find a way to see it. So anyway, if you like my videos, if you like my ideas, if you are a fan, share my videos with your friends. Post it on Facebook. Please retweet it. Please tell tell two people, so they can tell two people. I'm really grateful for. There's a publication called Paper.li, something to that effect. A lot of times on my Facebook page, I post, these interesting articles that I find. They're about fashion, they're about celebrity, different things, art, music, new movies, a whole range of stuff. As you all, those who follow the page or follow my Twitter. So the people who run that, they will lately. It's a website, and then they repost if they see interesting articles or they see things, and whoever's running those things, they have been really wonderful. At first, I started out, I wouldn't be on the first stories, but I would be in the sort of like if you clicked on the entertainment or you clicked on style or leisure. But the last time, just this morning, I opened up my Twitter, and they had like 3 things that I had posted. And of course, they were stories that other people had, but I was just putting it on my page saying, isn't this interesting, and with my headline. And so they have been reposting those things as a part of their online publication. So with my, BibaGirrrl and Byline, and so I really appreciate, shout out to them, really appreciate them giving me that exposure. I just hope that they'll be posting things like this, my videos, or some of my reviews, or some of my actual articles that I write, so that it's not just, I don't look just like someone who's just posting about, reposting other people's articles or other people's stories. There's often times where I am writing and doing things like this and making my voice be heard. So I hope that they kind of see more of these things, so more original content. But I greatly appreciate, and I'll shout out to them for giving me the exposure. And anyone of my friends or followers who have been doing like Follow Fridays. I wish I could be better about Follow Fridays. For a long time I didn't know what FF meant, hashtag FF. I'm still learning some things about social media, but I knew that it was saying, hey, follow these people are cool, whatever. And so there were times where I would go through and I could only put like 10 names at a time, and go through all my followers and say, follow these people, follow these people, follow these people, follow these people. But I'm not that good about remembering all the and then of course sometimes I would do it for my whole list, and it would take like half a day. And I'd name the 10 people that would fit into the 140 characters, and I would do maybe 20, maybe 10 names would fit, or maybe 20 names would fit. But then it would take so long, especially if you have more than 1,500 followers. It takes how many times it takes to do 20, so many tweets, 20 tweets, 50 tweets to get all those names. And then some of those names are bots, and some of those names are names for certain organizations or whatever, and they're not. It's not like an actual person that's a follower. So it took me a long time to weed out who are the regular people, who are the some people I've been able to private message, and actually have more conversation with, and but some people I wish I had the time to be more in touch with, especially this one group lately. I'm gonna try to find their name, just so I can give them a shout out, because they've been very generous in posting my name and getting people to follow me. And then anyone who has added me to a list on Twitter of something that I have tweeted about, and then I automatically get posted on the list. I really appreciate that. Okay, here it is. Here he is. I gotta scroll down here. Chris, let me go down. I'm sorry. I wish I could be better. Okay, here we go. Chris, at Chris Deluxe. And it says his marketing manager, engaging guest lecturer, I guess out of Luxembourg. I really appreciate you mentioning me with all these different names of people to follow, because it's all day long. My phone has been blowing up like crazy. And so I want to give a shout out to you and thank you for your support. And like, it's just been really amazing, the people who have been following me. And I think some of you get me more than the people who know me personally get me. I know what I'm trying to do here. And I really appreciate that. Some of my friends, they'll post things and say, I thought you were writing this, or I thought you were doing that. I'm like, no, I'm not writing things about celebrities where I'm tearing them down, or I'm trying to get, I'm not. I used to be more gossipy. Even if with the Oscars, there were things where I'd say, oh, this person's hair looks terrible. Now I'll talk about the person whose hair that I like, and I'm not talking about the ones whose hair I think looks terrible. Or I might say, it's not my cup of tea. Or I'd be like, that dress looks great, but the hair could use some work. I've really gone out of my way to be more positive, and because I feel like there's enough bullying out there. And one friend posted something where one of the actresses looked very thin, and she was like, oh, I can't believe how skinny she is. She could really use a cheeseburger. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And this is my take on it. In my perfect world, I wish that Melissa McCarthy would be up for the same roles as her cousin Jenny McCarthy. In a perfect world, I would hope somebody wouldn't judge me for being short and overweight and curvy or pudgy or plus size. But I can be, I can go, just recently was in a Starbucks and I overheard a woman talk about her daughter, and she was talking to her own father. She said, well, finally she's grown out of that stage where thank God she's gotten taller, she's not going to be short and fat. She doesn't have to be that person anymore. And I was like, what if that child had not grown? What if she had gotten taller? What are you going to do? You're going to drown her? You're going to make her feel like she's less than a human being? But the sad thing is, a lot of actresses and models, if they want to work, they have to be a certain size. Now, luckily, the world is starting to change. But if I just spent the last week and a half, or actually the past month, looking from New York Fashion Week to London Fashion Week to Paris Fashion Week to Milan Fashion Week, all the models are stick thin. I wish the world was not that way. I wish the majority of actresses, when I look at casting calls, I wish that they weren't saying thin, in shape, this, that, and the other thing. Until, like Amy Schumer said it best, even though I'm not like the biggest Amy Schumer fan, hardly at all, but Amy Schumer said it best, that if you have a little bit of a stomach, you have to write your own script and to create your own movie to get cast, because majority of casting agents are going to look at you and go, sorry, unless you come back after you've lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever. And there's something about, I know from my husband being an actor, there is something about the camera. Not only does it make you look heavier, but it amplifies your features. Part of the reason why I started doing this was that I had to do something to help me kind of get over myself. And the more I see myself in images of myself, and makes me less self-conscious and help my own confidence. So, unfortunately, especially the very thin actresses, most of them are doing what they have to do to work. Imagine every day if your job depended on you not eating, or being in a certain level of shape, or being able to fit in a certain clothes that the show provides for you to wear. If you have to be that size, and this is your job, well, some people might say, I just get a different job. Screw it. I'd be like, screw it. I can't do it. This is. And then there's some of us who are trying to be more courageous and saying, I'm kind of a big deal. I'm kind of a big deal just as though I am. and accept and deal with it. So, so I even tried to stop. I saw a friend's post on a fashion page, and the model was extremely skinny. Oh my God, it was unbelievable how thin her legs were. And I said, and instead of saying what I would have said maybe 4 or 5 years ago, which would have been the same thing, she needs a cheeseburger. She needs a cheeseburger. I said, I wish that the fashion, even though the fashion is making the women look strong, I really hope that at some point we will stop making women appear smaller and less strong and not feeling like they need to disappear. That we can be in a world where the women can be the most successful women, especially with International Women's Day. When you think about all the strong women, the most famous, most strong women were the ones who weren't as concerned about what size they were and what kind of jeans they fit into, that kind of thing. They were doing other things. So I think, as much as I don't want someone to bully someone for being heavy, I don't want someone to bully someone and say that someone's too skinny either, because maybe someone's already naturally thin and maybe they're having to be even skinnier because they're told they have to be that skinny for work. So it's a very tough situation. Show business is not easy, and the more that we do to get a dialogue going and to change people's ideas that, hey, my talent is worthwhile at this size, or if I'm heavier, or if I'm smaller, or if I'm older, or if I have a different color skin, my work is worthwhile. And the more that we work towards that, for women, for men, for anybody, that's a good thing. And so, anyway, just these are just some things I had in my mind, and I hope if you have some ideas about it, leave some comments. Let's get a dialogue going. And so, anyway, I hope you have a good weekend. And I will be making a new video. I'll be posting my last week's video, like I said before. I posted my last week's video on YouTube. I'm posting this video. It's going to go on the Facebook page, and in a couple days I'll add this to YouTube too. So what I'm going to try to do is get on a cycle. I'm doing a new video every week, and getting more regular things so more people know what's going on with me. So anyway, take care and have a great weekend. Thanks so much. Bye.